All right, welcome everyone with Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
That time I got reincarnated as a slime, season 2, episode 22. 222.
Right. Yes.
And no, not pairs, but Walpurgis is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got all the demon lords showing up.
Yep.
We have now Nakamad and a necromancer of Clayman's who
Excellent
wasn't really even Clayman's, but
Yeah.
is now ours for sure.
That's right.
For sure. And I love just the idea of your necromancer can't be this cute kind of kind of feature for this.
Yes.
For this, growing a horde of monsters.
Do tell me, other than the title, how your brain made the connection from the...
What are you talking about? He kind of just has that same kind of energy. He wants to worship, the big brother, slime sama.
Yeah. Anyways, but Clayman's doing
Half of
his.
them won't even get the joke. It's okay.
I see. I think that's very optimistic of you. But Clayman is doing his little bitch thing, showing what a bitch he is at Walpurgis, and being like, hey, I can do this,
Right.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching him get his comeuppance, because I have a very, very clear image in my head of this being very similar to a way a certain video game handles someone coming about and bitching that this upstart is causing problems and we must all band together. Smite them, yes.
Is this
Destroy
another
them.
FF14 thing?
No, it's SWOTOR, you dingus. We talked about this in the last recording.
Right. See, Clayman wishes that he was on the level of Varys or whoever the fuck it was for the Sith Inquisitor.
Thanaton, but yes.
There we go. Yeah. Oh no. Okay, that one fits. That
See,
fits.
they both fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
They fit very well. Yeah. But all right, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone. Now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below. Then come back here for the discussion. This episode was hilarious, and not all for good reasons.
Yeah.
This is a very funny episode because we got to see Clayman kind of undermine his whole logical argument here by
himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it was kind of funny that he lucked out of the duel by doing the whole Veldora argument, because he's like, oh, no. This is very clearly just a thing as to where you need to be stopped. And then they're like, cool, well, then you do it. And because of the way that they're playing the whole magic item can't be detected, obviously, by the demon lords when they enter this area here, which is beyond stupid.
Hold on.
Okay, Then having it be because Milim is not just a demon lord, but one of the strongest demon lords, Guy's not going to be like, no, I'm not going to let you do this. It's just the thing as to where, sure, play it out as it plays out.
And even then, that's something of it being because Milim's a strong demon lord, that's something that we have to throw in there that is not something that the show actually put forth. Oh, and also, Guy was able to determine the loyalties of a masked person to not be absolute to their current master, and yet they aren't able to tell that when Clayman shows up and smacks Milim in front of everybody, and Milim does not respond one iota, that oh, no, that seems completely normal, and she's, following him of her own volition. Like, and
either he is lying, and he does not care, or it's the thing as to where he's like, oh, well, clearly Milim is being manipulated, and in order for this to be undone, I'm going to need them to fight. So, cool, let's have Rimuru, this upstart, just... figure it out, break the necklace, it'll be easy, it's done. But the hilarious part about it is that there's nothing in the show that informs us of that is something that we are bringing to the table because it's the only thing that doesn't make Guy look stupid.
And Rimuru already said out loud no, she's obviously being mind controlled, even if it's not something that was like, put forth as like a, hey, come on, can't you guys tell, right? So, if it's something where it is just a test, cool, but I feel like it could have been very easily resolved in the point when we're actually showing Guy talking to Ramirez and everything, where it's just like, I mean, yeah, obviously she's mind controlled, but like, let's see what Rimuru does, right? Like that could have fixed it all just like that. But then also, even Clayman's plan itself was inherently dumb to the point where Rimuru didn't even need to do anything in order to prove that it was a dumb fucking argument, right? Yep. Even the giant guy was just like, wait, what you're saying doesn't even make sense. So not only is it something where we get to see Clayman get comeuppance, but then the comeuppance is undercut because Clayman just would have made an idiot of himself.
Yep.
Right? So it's like, okay.
It's the unfortunate thing where I feel like these types of scenes require a certain level of subtlety or layers to the dialogue that just aren't here. And not just that, it's because in some ways we went for having two sides of this as well, which is that Clayman made a long speech. I'm like, oh, cool, we're going to skip past the speech because it's boring and dumb and stupid and the argument is lame. But then it's the, no. We're going to have Rimuru have a point where he can circumvent that with showing the bits that he's captured footage of for the points where he's defeated the armies there. Very cool, very cool.
Awesome.
Except then Clayman keeps going, which then puts Clayman entirely into the joke territory, right? And yet he's somehow convinced everyone, this absolute idiot, that Milim is being just supportive of him of her own accord.
Right. And even if it's a test for Rimuru, the problem with that is then it undercuts Milim.
Yeah.
Because Milim is supposed to be the strongest other than Guy, right? So if it had been something where it's the, no, I can just be upfront about it. Yeah, I figured out how to mind control her, motherfuckers. Something that none of you could do. Now she's my bitch. You know, so you have to listen to what I say. That would have tension. That would have something where even though that we know that Clayman is slimy, weak, scumbag, etc., right? We
then
would
the
still
points
need
where
to
they
take
would
him seriously.
Right, then the points with them freaking out, being like, she's doing this, could be not about the, we're surprised that she's doing this, more the just like, okay, Clayman, what are you going to make her do, basically?
Right.
But no, it's about whether or not they are, sure if she's actually,
Right. And then after we make it clear that Clayman is a joke, then the show asks us to take him seriously again with the fight.
Which is cool because he summons a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But that's it, because then in the fight, they chose to again undercut the fight as well by having Rimuru's little tiff with Raphael continue to the point where Raphael, which is hilarious because Raphael decided to be specific. You asked if there's a spell controlling a thing there. DM, can I counterspell this? No, it is not a spell. Right. It is a magical effect.
Right. You might be able to dispel magic, but you can't do counterspell.
Right. So what I find fucking hilarious about this is that this is because Rimuru has been being kind of petty to Raphael throughout the point that he's had Raphael. But then, rather than getting upset of the, wait, so then nothing's going on here, what we're effectively seeing, and this is something that I've done even as a lot as a streamer and plays video games and stuff like that, where there's a mechanic being offered to you by the game of, you can make the fight a lot easier if you do this. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do it the hard way. And the game's just like, you know what?
Fine.
Fuck you. Fine. Do it the hard way. Yeah. Slowly but surely drain the magic that is controlling her, what its source is. I even loved the visual element of, oh, see how it's isolated on this necklace here? So there's no spell.
Right.
But Rimuru, I have to assume, does not have that visual heads-up display thing there, because then he's super dumb as well for not just wondering, why was it focused on the purple spell thing there?
But for all of the this episode, there was a lot of awesome.
Yes.
Freaking Veldora just showing
just
up
deciding, fuck your magic barrier, fuck your portal dimension.
Yep.
Was he inside of like
a shadow?
Well, that's a wolf thing specifically.
Sure.
But like, was he like inside of some kind of like casted spell thing that he put on Rimuru? That would be hilarious. Where it wasn't actually that he's so strong that he just doesn't give a fuck about any of the magic there.
Yeah.
Because I would think that would also undercut Guy a little bit, where it's no, this space and this and all that is an actual thing. It's just that he snuck along with you. And he's just so powerful that none of them detected him. You know, that feels cooler than the I just portal inside there. Because hey, maybe because of his connection with Rimuru and this time they spent together, he always knows exactly where Rimuru is, and he can warp to him just at a whim, but he's never had to do it. So this was the one point where he's like, fuck.
Right, I'll do my thing.
Milim, a dragon, basically.
Right, you need a dragon to fight a dragon. And to be fair, one of the things, regardless of how the whole Veldora situation ends up getting explained / resolved, I don't think there's a problem that they can actually run into by making Veldora too strong from a world-building standpoint.
Yes,
it could be problematic from a conflict standpoint later where it feels like there's no stakes, but... Veldora was the first initial thing that was introduced.
Yes.
And he was introduced as a cataclysmic threat for the world at large. A world in which people like Guy and everyone else exist.
Yep.
So Veldora being as strong as the story wants him to be is totally fine in my books. That feels like it makes sense. It's cool, it's fun. Okay, sure. The other thing that we had that was awesome was the Ora.
Not Shuna, Shion. Ora. That was so fucking funny.
It was beautiful.
I cannot tell you how satisfying it is when you have the little bitch mage, schemer, manipulator guy just encounter a basic martial character who just is like, I'm in melee range with you, bitch. I'm just going to stunning strike you and then just execute 6 attacks on you per turn. No problem.
Right. Now, here's a thing that I'm just going to throw out there. Since this ended up being resolved comedically, right? Imagine for a second that this battle's happening, and it's like, oh, this is going to be a serious battle. But again, because of some of the things that are happening, we're not necessarily invested in the serious battle happening. And then Shion just busts out, does her ora, and Clayman does not get back up, right? And then that's it. The battle's over. And it's like, oh, okay, well, there we go. You know, like that would still be comedic. It would definitely be anticlimactic in a way, but I think it would be super fun.
I think I wouldn't like that particularly because it would be something where we would feel like we're executing bitch maneuvers and getting rewarded for it.
Gotcha.
I think that what's funny about this is that it happened, not that has any actual bearing on the conflict as large. It should be between Rimuru and Clayman. And if anything, the person that I want to ora Clayman is Milim when she gets free.
That's absolutely
and it's just a very casual and then he starts to regenerate, and then she waits, and then he's done regenerating.
We've seen that whole situation where if you're strong enough, it doesn't matter if the person's immortal. Eventually, they'll wish they weren't immortal.
They'll wish they weren't dead.
You know,
and they'll stop breathing or stop regenerating.
Milim will just Omni-Man him. You know, just spine. You know, whatever. Just grab things and it'll hurt.
Yeah, and that's the thing here is that in some ways all this is a bunch of flair and fun before that happens. The story has not set up properly that Clayman should be taken seriously in any stretch of it. In fact, this episode hurt his level of seriousness. And that is unfortunate because that means then we have to wait until the point when the obvious let's break the necklace. Let's let Milim punk his ass. Let's let all the demon lords go and be like, yeah, Rimuru, you're all right. You're all right.
Yep.
We are actually kind of fulfilling the wholesome slime style subversion of expectations that all those that have the I'm a demon, I'm a demon lord, or I'm a monstrous whatever entity. It's no. Everyone can be Nakamura and come and hang out in the bathhouse and just chill and have a drink, and it's all good times.
Fun.
Yeah. We don't have to have big overarching supervillains with evil machinations and power and stuff. Even though they could be all doing that.
And when we do, we will be able to take them seriously. Like Cromwell, I am excited for when he becomes an antagonist in whatever scope he does.
Cromwell has been sufficiently shown to be intelligent and one who understands his own limitations.
Exactly.
Clayman is the type of villain who talks a big game because that's part of his manipulation, and thus his his purpose in the story is fine, that he can sound like an idiot at times, but it's the kind of thing where, depending on how stupid you make him, you can end up creating the aura of stupid where other people that should be serious get brought down to his level
because he's such an expert at stupid. Right. And the thing is, while I haven't taken Clayman seriously as a threat himself.
Yes.
I did take him seriously as a threat because of his people that he had on his strings.
Right. Milim was a big deal.
Milim was a big deal.
Yep.
His armies were a big deal, right? You know, granted, they ended up getting defeated pretty soundly, but like when the armies were introduced, I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah. This is how Clayman is actually like someone to, you know, not just send Shion after by herself, you know, right? Like, okay, awesome. I like this.
Right.
But now we don't have to deal with that, you know? And then the big one in that game of Milim is, oh no, it doesn't quite feel like that. So yeah.
So hopefully the next episode is just pure comeuppance and just stomping into this spatially controlled dimension by Guy, which I very much did like the casual it's a dueling space now.
Yep.
That was very fun.
Oh, yeah.
I also love the idea also of it being two different effects he's doing at the same time. I'll put up an impervious wall of force, you know, just making it there. But then I'm going to make the space inside it much larger to accommodate an actual fight between a bunch of magical creatures and monsters and shit.
That was one of the things that I was thinking about when they're like, okay, you know, but with like, you know, theoretically you could go to a Walpurgis and not come back, right? And I'm like, okay, but this is a very small room. And these are a lot of very powerful people.
A lot of egos bumping into each other.
Well, a lot of egos bumping into each other, but that seems like it would just be like the pressurized room with a bomb going off inside. Like, you don't want that, right?
Right, but it's there's no worry about that even in the slightest.
Nope, they just make the room bigger.
He just lifted his hand, created an impervious barrier, and did that.
Asterisk, because maybe Veldor just
we'll see. But probably impervious to all of them.
Right.
The one thing that I did like a little bit was that even though the Beretta stuff was a little bit out of the blue, it didn't feel like it was narratively coinciding with why this whole thing was going on as well. It felt like, hey, we're just going to have a conversation about literally something that doesn't matter to the conflict here. But the idea of, I sensed the connection that you have potentially to Diablo?
Right. Well, she sensed her stronger loyalty to someone else who's Rimuru.
Right.
But we got from her backstory as far as her motivations that there is someone that she wants to catch up to power-wise. Very much seems to be Diablo. Cool. Okay, that's a way for there to be counterplay and interplay between Rimuru's subordinates, and for us all to also to learn about who these people are in the grand scheme of the world at large.
Yeah,
awesome.
Guy seems to be someone who, at the very least, can...
he knows who's who?
Well, right, but he can kind of determine some connections with people as well. So maybe, at the very least, what he's able to do is read minds a little bit, but it's, you know, it's like a specific aspect of that. One of the things that they could actually do with this in a very fun way is that Guy is very aware of what's going on with Milim. But it is the kind of thing of where he's like, based on the way this is going, I actually don't see them as being able to beat Rimuru. I actually don't. Right, and I think that's what they're going to end up doing. It's just like, oh man, why did you have to put the pretense up so that we're supposed to believe that he doesn't know? Yeah, it's the kind of thing where dialogue is very important with when it's used in spaces in the stories where there isn't much. Meaning, like, for instance, here we had most of the dialogue coming from Clayman and Rimuru, so when the other characters speak up at all, it's a very big deal that their stuff that they speak up is not only in character, but it's something that makes sense for this time where those two are going at each other. And thus, the giant, the earthquake guy, speaking up and being like, bro, I'm not a big dumb brute.
Yeah.
I can even see that the logic of this is utterly flawed. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. And I love that it wasn't like you're clearly lying about this because I know something special. No, I'm just listening to you.
Right.
Do I have to keep listening to this hogwash? So he's interesting, but from everybody else's perspective, I think the only reason why they don't speak up has to be that they don't care
Sure. Yeah, the sleeping guy for sure.
Well, obviously. But then, like, is the reason why the other people not speaking because they didn't notice the logic, or because they just don't really care? So it's important then that if you're gonna have the big guy Guy involved in this thing there, then actually do speak up, have his stuff there be something that reinforces who he is in this world as a character.
Yep, because the coolest thing about this whole deal with Walpurgis is that we got introduced to a bunch of awesome badasses, right, that we can take very seriously in this show where...
By association, yeah.
Right, by association in this story where it is very difficult to create, not necessarily antagonists, but other players within the world that make us feel like the protagonist actually has to maybe tread lightly because they're so powerful by this point, right?
Right.
So that was really awesome to have all this set up, and now it's sort of okay, does Guy have to say, yes, I knew all along, in order for it to just be narratively unsatisfying, as opposed to like, oh, well, now Guy, I can't take him like seriously in the world, you know? But yeah.
Again, this is also something of where we're going off a little bit of this is a bit of a logic thing that we kind of had going into this, which was, the thing that would make them be unwilling to act is that they're actually just genuinely scared of Milim being under somebody else's control. Not about the idea of them not knowing whether he's under she's under someone's control, but specifically then Rimuru doesn't even know, because there's a necklace there that even Raphael was starting to hone in visually on, and then Rimuru's like, I can't, I don't know what this is. That really felt like we were being kind of cucked out of hey, this is an obvious thing, right? Look, it's like Dora the Explorer. Can you spot the thing there?
Like,
and I'm like...
For all the awesome in this episode, it really feels that the episode as a whole feels like a fluff episode. If that makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, at some point, either in the next episode or 2 episodes from now, Clayman's going to get curb stomped.
And it will be satisfying.
And it will be satisfying because he's going to make his very impressive voice actors iconic sounds of either a or a of that variety.
Just all of those
sounds and noises. Yes. And that will be wonderful. Yep. Also, just the idea as well that if this all goes very well, Rimuru could just be given everything that Clayman has been laid claim to as a demon lord, and
he's already taken it.
No, I know, but then it'll be the thing of like, no, there's some other shit that you didn't know about. Like we currently have an alliance. Like 2 other demon lords are like, by the way, we've been going under this thing right now of some kind of trade thing or something else, or I'll bring you over to my territories and show you kind of, what I've got. Like maybe they share borders with somebody else, and there could be some interesting stuff there. Basically, I just like the idea of Clayman being the sacrificial pawn in the story to usher Rimuru into this status new place. But then the next stage of that not being as to, well, I wonder who's controlling Clayman, because that is potentially interesting, but it's no, you can rely on us a little bit. Like, we're now not friends, but we are peers. So if you want to like come over and do what, Cromwell did, you can just come visit me up in my my island or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, we can talk shop. Yeah, it'll be great.
That'll be fun. Yeah. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out my Persona 5 Royal Let's Play on Twitch. But yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.